Ladies and gentlemen, head coach Troy G. Ward.
Well, Troy, just your general impressions of this one. There was a lot to be pleased with for an exhibition game. The first time out, I guess, 17 shots against, 5 goals for. What did you think?
Well, it was in a lot of ways it was a good win. It was probably one of those team wins just because it was we've been together for 2 days. Like we got some guys that were in training camp and in Penticton, and we got some guys here that basically are either in on a tryout or they're with Alaska and they're coming down through us that way. So for 2 days together, and I thought we got in a lot offensively, which was our major concern, what we were doing offensively. We got through all 4 of our offensive systems the last 2 days, and so that was the number one criteria we wanted to evaluate them on. But what stood out the most was the fact that we didn't give up much, and we have taught zero defense. I taught it before the game. And we were tough. Like, we stood up for each other, and that was really encouraging. When you got a young group of kids that are feeling their way through, I liked how they stuck together.
Olsen, Hanowski, and Sivek obviously seemed to find some pretty instant chemistry there. What did you just sense about maybe why it worked as well as it did for those 3?
Sometimes I think just the way the game goes, but I thought that they complement each other well. Like, Peter can pass the puck really well, and he's got really good skill. He has some good poise, and he understands how to share the puck. Olsen comes back to us for a guy that played most of the year in right wing, but he has the ability to play at center. And one of the things we're looking for with Brett is the fact that he can be more consistent and chip in more consistently than he did. Last year he had a great first half, not a great second half. So I think he's on a little bit of a mission myself. Like, in talking to him the last couple of days, he really wants to do well this year. And I thought he was kind of the catalyst of the line, so to speak. Obviously, Ben, that was Ben's first American League hockey game. Like last year at the end of the trade deadline, he played in Calgary and never came down here. So he's basically come right from college and played in the NHL, and his first American League game. I was happy for him. I thought he did some good things as well. So their chemistry, I thought, was driven a little bit by Olsen in the middle because he was kind of the vet down here. He understood the game and the pace, and I thought he did a good job with his 2 wingers.
You mentioned your team sticking up for each other. Is that something that you were expecting coming into this game?
No, I think we didn't really know what to expect. We addressed the toughness and the team issue today. We knew coming into camp that Brett Lyon would provide us some toughness, so we definitely knew that, and we saw that. But I think the rest kind of just unfolded. It was one of those games where everybody was pretty hungry to prove a point. I think on both sides, in fairness to both sides.
Troy, goaltending changed from last year to this year. What role do you see the 2 playing tonight, and how do you think they played okay?
Yeah, I think they did well. Tough to come off the bench and stop a breakaway in the second there for LB, we call him, Brossois there. Like, I thought that was tough on him, but I thought in general they did. I thought we did a nice job in front of them. I thought we made the game fairly simplistic for both goalies. Both goalies have got a lot to prove. Orts has been here in the past. Maybe hasn't fared well as he wanted in some ways. Maybe sometimes it's the coach, like a lot of times giving people enough freedom. But I think both of them want to prove that they belong here and that they can play at this level. And, LB, we wanted to get – he didn't get any exhibition game in Calgary. He didn't play 1 minute up there, and Orts played a half a game, the first game of the exhibition. So neither one's got a lot of action lately, so it was important they both got their feet wet, and I thought they handled themselves well.
Coaching addition this year, you brought in Robbie Fatorik, or the Flames, and the organization brought in Robbie. Was it the change that was needed to be made to help advance, or was it just something that the overall organization wanted to do?
It was more of it was a need basis, meaning that Luke Strand and Cale McLean will be missed greatly. They're wonderful coaches and great people. Both had family issues. That needed to be attended to. In our life, as the NHL, I was always taught, stands for no home life, and basically it's a tough business. And both Cale made a family decision to put himself in a prep school setting where he could be a father and be a coach. And Luke, was recently divorced before last year and has a 9-year-old boy and saw him 20 days, 9 months. So that really doesn't work well, and it was more of a lifestyle change for those guys. We were fortunate to get Robbie. Robbie and I met this summer for a few days in Wisconsin and sat down, and we were looking for a little bit more experience between myself and the management team, and fortunate that Robbie and I hit it off really well in our days together, and he wanted to be a part of this. So we feel very blessed and very fortunate to have a class guy that's got a playing background, and he's done a nice job.
Is it going to be a big change for him coming out of Erie in the OHA? The OHL, rather?
No, I don't think so. I think he's really used to the young kids. That was probably the most appealing thing for me. I mean, there's no question he's been behind a bench in the NHL way more than I will probably ever be. Like, you know, good for him, and he's a wonderful coach. But one of the most intriguing things, he spent the last 6 years in the OHL. So he understands the new millenniums, he understands the new kids, and he understands what they're about. He's a good communicator, so the kids are really lucky to have him.
Troy, when can you expect the next round of cuts to come down?
Ooh, it's a great question. Probably the question. The question. So we'll have to stay tuned to the Sun and the Herald in Calgary. I'm not really sure. Or some tweet or something like that. I'm not really sure. My guess is they play tomorrow at home against the Rangers, and then they play Wednesday. My guess, we wouldn't see anybody till later this week. That'd just be my guess. There might be one or two that may trickle. Bob, obviously, Hartley's got to get his team ready to play, and so there's going to be some guys that might stay that might not play in some games up there, but part of that, I think, is we're taking them through the experience of being in the NHL, and so that we can close that margin later when guys go up and down. So I don't expect anybody too soon here.
What are you doing to prepare differently this season with having a younger squad than you have in previous years?
You know, as a coaching staff, just breathing and being real patient. You know, we're gonna have our good days here in Abbotsford and games, and we're gonna have maybe some days that'll be real tough for us, depending on the maturity of our group and how quickly we mature. We just have to be patient teachers and understand that we'll have to, you know, it's kind of like this year. It's more of one of my favorite quotes there is like, how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time. Like, we're just gonna have to be real patient, and we're gonna have to be real simple and grow them. Like, this is a team where we're set up to hopefully mature the second half, where we can have a real good push the second half, but we got to stay in contention in the first half. So a little bit of patience from the staff, and just a little bit of, if we're good teachers, then I think they can coach themselves if we do a good job of teaching. But if we're not so good, then they got to teach and coach themselves. That wouldn't be an ideal situation. So we got to be patient.
Dean Orsini left in the second period there. Do you have
Yeah.
any feel for?
Feel bad for Dean. Like, Dean did a great job. I mean, when you have the Gordie Howe, at that point, he had a goal and assist in a fight. And, he's here. He's trying. He's a hometown kid who loves the colors and wants to play in front of his hometown. And unfortunately, he got some stitches there, and he's doing pretty good back there. He looks like the guy on Jaws. He's got a bandage around his head and all that right now, and Jaws 1 there. Like, he's got all that stuff going back there. But tough break for him, but I thought he worked extremely hard, and I thought he was doing great. Just unfortunate, but hopefully, like vet he is, he'll, I'm sure, bounce back quickly, and see.
He cut his face on the ice.
I think he got his, basically what cut him for the stitches was his own helmet, and if it wasn't his helmet, it was the other guy's helmet. That was basically what cut him. So he seems to be doing a lot better than we thought originally by the doctors in terms of potentially a concussion or something like that. That's to be determined. But he got stitched up, and he's alert and moving around, and just an unfortunate break because he was having such a good game, and he's pushing hard to be a part of this whole thing. So we'll take a few days and be patient with him and get him back in the thick of things.